February 11th, 2026. I need you to hold that date in your head. Don't let it go. Because everything I'm about to tell you traces back to that single day in Pretoria West. A man gets into his car to work. He's an e-hailing driver. He picks up passengers. That's how he feeds himself. That's how he sends money home. And on that day, according to police reports, he never made it back. His name was Isaac David Satlat. He was 22 years old, an automotive engineering student. He was expected to graduate in early March, and his birthday was coming up on March 12th. He was allegedly strangled to death, according to police and news reports. What happened next in a South African courtroom 5 days later? That's what made me dig into this, because 3 suspects walked into that courtroom, and they said 2 words that changed everything: no bail. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button right now. We don't stop digging. We don't move on to the next trend. We stay on the story until the questions get answered. Drop a like too, because that's how more people find this, and that's how we keep the pressure on. Now, let me walk you through this, piece by piece. What they're charged with. Before I explain what no bail means and why that matters, I want you to hear what these 3 suspects are actually facing. Not from me. From the courtroom itself. Listen to this.
It's case number KD/08/2026. Today's date, the 16th day of February 2026. Court 17 before Mr. Chokwe. Mr. Maruma appears for the state. The proceedings are interpreted by Ms. Masonto and Ms. Yema records saying, Your Worship, the 3 accused are facing the following charges. Count number 1, premeditated murder. The state alleges common purpose. Count number 2, robbery with aggravating circumstances. May their rights to legal representation be explained.
And you heard that. Count 1, premeditated murder. The state alleges common purpose, meaning they argue each accused can be held liable for what the group did in furtherance of the crime. Count 2, robbery with aggravating circumstances. Some reports summarize the second count as hijacking, others as robbery with aggravating circumstances, but the core allegation is the same. He was attacked during a trip and his property and vehicle were taken. These are not petty charges. Under South Africa's minimum sentences law, if someone is convicted of planned or premeditated murder, the prescribed minimum sentence can be life imprisonment, unless the court finds substantial and compelling circumstances to impose less. So now you understand the weight of what comes next. Because what happened next in that courtroom is the moment that made this case national news. The defense attorney stood up and said this.
With regards to the bail, my instruction from all the 3 accused is that they wishes to abandon the bail in the interim.
As for the other requests, you have no questions. Mr. Maruma, in the face of the submission that they will not be pursuing any bail applications, we still want to postpone.
Your Worship, bail investigations is necessary. In the event they change their attitude towards bail, they should find us ready. But be that as it may, I may suggest a lengthy date.
A longer date, no?
Yes.
I do not want to say lengthy.
Okay. Should I say long?
Longer than the week that you requested. You usually requested only a week, no?
Yes.
Obviously, I think that was in compliance with the provisions of Section 56. So what I'm saying is, in the event where there is no bail, that makes it urgent for them to go back.
Your Worship, may we retain the suggested date of the 23rd because the document only permits retention for 7 days.
I'm just seeing that.
Court, please.
You have to
23rd February.
What is the date? Is it 20? Third.
Third.
23rd is suitable.
Thank you. I see there's also the letter ostensibly from the person in charge of Pretoria Mode SAPSL, allowing for them to be held there. That is case number 2 and 3. Now, Ms. Mpela, Mr. Machidi, Mr. Mutwana, this matter is postponed for bail investigation and any incidental investigations there too, to the 23rd day of this very month, 23 February in this very court called 16. You are all 3 in custody to be held there until your next appearance, with accused number 1, Ms. Mpela, being held at the local prison, and Mr. Machidi and Mr. Mutwana to be incarcerated until the day to be held at the SAPSL at Pretoria Mode police station. There is no bail for all 3. Thank you.
There it is, straight from the courtroom. My instruction from all 3 accused has been wishes to abandon the bail in the interim, and the magistrate's response. All 3 in custody. Accused number 1 held at the local prison. Accused number 2 and 3 to be incarcerated at the SAPS police station. Matter postponed to the 23rd of February for bail investigations and any incidental investigations. The prosecutor even added something that caught my attention. He said bail investigations are still necessary. Why? Because in the event they change their attitude towards bail, the state wants to already have its case ready. The prosecution is not sleeping on this. They are preparing for the possibility that these suspects might change their minds later, and when that day comes, the state wants to be loaded. Now think about that for a second. You're facing a charge where, if convicted, the prescribed minimum sentence can be life imprisonment, unless the court finds substantial and compelling circumstances. Your own lawyer stands up and tells the court you want to abandon bail. The magistrate locks it in, and the prosecution says, even so, we're still building our case. That is not a normal courtroom day. Something in this case is heavy, and we may not know exactly what the police have, but the behavior of everyone in that room tells you the evidence is serious. Let me build this out for you so you can see the full picture, because according to a family representative who spoke to Newsroom Africa, we now have a clearer timeline of what happened that night. On the evening of February 11th, 2026, Isaac's father called him around 6:50 p.m. He asked him where he was. Isaac told his dad he was just trying to get a few rides using his car. Then he would go home. His dad said okay. Around 7:30, Isaac's friends called him. According to the family representative, Isaac told them he had one more ride. He said he was going to drop them off and then he would be home. But the whole thing, around 8, 9, 10, nobody heard from him. At 11 p.m., his friends called the police. They followed the tracker on his car, and they found him in a village just outside Atteridgeville. He was dead. And here is a detail confirmed by news reports that changes how you should think about this case. The ride was requested through the e-haling app by a man and a woman. Isaac accepted the trip. He picked them up. And according to the footage that has been widely circulated, that is when he was attacked by what appeared to be 3 assailants. Someone booked the ride on purpose. According to reports, the dashcam in Isaac's car captured footage of the attack. That dashcam became an essential element in how police identified and located the suspects. Isaac's own camera recorded what happened to him. Now I need to take you somewhere that's harder to sit with, because behind the courtroom footage and the legal language and the police reports, there is a family that is falling apart. And I don't want to tell you about it. I want you to hear it from them.
It is very unfortunate what happened, and Isaac is somebody who he came into South Africa, to finish his primary school and his high school here, and then he went to college, technical college. But the whole situation there is on Wednesday night, his dad called him around 6:50 and asked him where he was. He said, no, he's just trying to get, a few rides, using his car, and then he would go home. He said, okay, fine. And around 7:30, his friends called him. He said, look, I got one ride that I'm going to drop them off, and then I'll be home. That's like friends he's staying with. But the whole thing around 8, 9, 10, they didn't hear from him. 11, they called the police, and they followed the tracker or the car, and then found him in a village just outside Atteridgeville. I got the news very early in the morning on Thursday. Spoke to the dad, and the dad had to go to the funeral parlor and identify his body. And the moment he identified his body, the dad was almost losing his breath. And they had to immediately take him into a medical center because his blood pressure rose to about 238. The dad hasn't watched the video yet. He does not intend to watch it, which, if you watch the video, you have a blow-by-blow scene of a young man, 22 years of age, who loves life, very adventurous, very creative, loves to do things with his hands, loves music, loves modeling, loves the church. And that's who Isaac was, and his mom back obviously in Nigeria and two siblings are totally devastated right now.
So Solomon, in your statement, and I guess as you speak for the family, they've asked you to really help them in this time. It's highlighted that this incident shouldn't be used to push an agenda by some to say there's a certain narrative against certain people of certain nationalities. Just explain to us what you mean by that, and what are you trying to say?
I think in the backdrop of the recent incidences of, tension between locals and other Africans that has been happening, I think, the last 2-3 weeks, a lot of people were trying to sort of like fuse this narrative into this whole thing of being a hate crime, that Isaac was picked on because he was Nigerian. And we talked about that with his family, with his dad especially, and we came to a conclusion where, no, it is a typical case that could happen to anybody, whether you are South African or not South African. It was a crime situation. It was criminals who intended to take your valuable items from you, not targeted. Isaac is not somebody who is involved in any shady, dodgy things. He's not somebody who is violent to create sin, to create enemies. And for the dad especially, the dad said, look, we must make sure that this issue does not get to a place where it becomes a Nigeria versus South Africa thing and all of that. No, there is a crime problem in the country. We all know that. And my uncle could be a victim, your niece, your sister, your brother. It could happen to anybody. And that's exactly what happened. So, and I must say on behalf of the family also to thank South Africans. We created a Baka campaign to raise funds to repatriate the body to Nigeria. And 90% of the people who have been given are South Africans.
You heard him. Isaac came to South Africa to study. He finished primary school here, high school here, technical college. He was studying automotive engineering. He was 22 years old. He loved life. He was adventurous, creative. He loved music, loved modeling, loved the church. He was the firstborn. His younger siblings looked up to him, and his father had to walk into a funeral parlor and identify his son's body. According to Solomon, the moment the father identified Isaac, his blood pressure shot up to 238. They had to rush him to a medical center. He almost lost his breath. The father has not watched the video. He does not intend to. And Isaac's mother back in Nigeria, according to the family representative, she is totally inconsolable, totally devastated. The last time she saw her son was a couple of years ago when she visited South Africa for about 2 weeks. Now the family needs R7,000 to fly Isaac's body back to Nigeria, to Abuja, so his mother, his siblings, his uncles, his aunties, his grandparents can see him one last time. And the family made something very clear, very direct. The father specifically asked that this case not become a Nigeria versus South Africa situation. Solomon said they discussed it with the family and came to a conclusion. This was a crime. It was criminals who intended to take valuable items. It was not a targeted hate crime based on nationality, in his words. It could happen to anybody whether you were South African or not South African. This is where I need to slow down and talk about money. Because every crime has a motive. And if you want to understand why e-hailing drivers are being targeted across South Africa, you need to understand what this industry looks like from the inside. An average e-hailing driver in South Africa, working for platforms like Uber or Bolt, can earn somewhere between R8,000 and R15,000 per month, depending on hours, location, and demand. In cities like Pretoria and Johannesburg, the competition is fierce. But here's what most people outside South Africa don't see. E-hailing drivers carry cash. They carry phones. They drive cars that can be hijacked and resold. A single vehicle can be worth anywhere from R8,000 to R25,000 on the second-hand market. That makes every driver a mobile target. And Isaac was doing what so many young people in this country do. According to Solomon, after completing his normal work and internship, Isaac would accept a few e-hailing rides just to make extra cash. He was not doing anything unusual. He was hustling, working hard, and that is exactly what put him in danger. According to reports from multiple South African news outlets over the past 2 years, attacks on e-hailing drivers have increased significantly. Hijackings, robberies, assaults, and in the worst cases, murders. I want to be very clear. We do not know the confirmed motive behind Isaac's killing. The investigation is ongoing. But the pattern of violence against e-hailing drivers in this country is documented, it is real, and it provides the context you need. Now, here is where this story breaks wide open. Because while the 3 suspects sat behind bars after abandoning bail, the police were not sitting still. And what happened next is exactly what the family had been hoping for. I want you to hear this directly from the news report and from Solomon's reaction when he found out in real time.
Out of Tshwane, where police have now arrested 2 more suspects in the murder case of the Nigerian e-hailing driver Isaac Sadlat. The men, who are aged 30 and 26, are said to appear in the Pretoria Magistrates Court, along with a 25-year-old woman who was arrested last Friday. Now, Sadlat was killed last Wednesday after he accepted a ride on his e-hailing app requested from a man and a woman. The incident, captured on CCTV footage, has been widely circulated. Zola Sholwana is live for us now from Pretoria West to give us another sense of what has happened thus far. Zola, let's just get an update now. 2 more to be in court today. Just give us a further update.
Well, I can tell you, Arabile, that family and friends of Isaac are quite relieved after they heard the breaking news that 2 more people have been arrested and they will be appearing in court today. But more than anything else, really, when you see young people who are gathered here, in support of Isaac, people that knew him, people that attended the same institution with him, it's quite triggering for the family. We are told that the father currently is not in a good state health-wise because of this incident. But I'm going to be speaking to a family spokesperson, who will also be following this case, as some of Isaac's family members are in Nigeria as we speak. So thank you very much for your time. Isaac's family, especially those that live in Nigeria, have not seen him for years, and now this has happened.
Exactly. So first, it's very sad for them. They have quite a lot of questions. He has two siblings, younger siblings. He's the first. So siblings that look up to you and always talk to you and are inspired. Younger siblings being inspired by the older siblings, and they're looking forward to seeing you. And then you have a mother, obviously, who had cared for you growing up, and now all of a sudden she's never going to see you alive again. And so for the whole family, they just have a lot of question mark. I think for them back in Nigeria, the family, it's more like it's not real. It hasn't really sunk in yet, until I believe they see his corpse in a coffin, in a casket. Then it would really shatter them totally. I think it would be another experience for them. But it is sad the way he was gruesomely murdered, the way he was killed. It was something that nobody deserved, that sort of way to die. His dad is struggling, very much struggling. We are very afraid for the father especially, because his blood pressure has just been shooting up to over 200, 238. And he had to be on medication and all that kind of stuff. And we made sure that we moved him from where he was residing to be with other family from church who would be able to take care of him and to make sure they keep their eye on him.
And of course, right now we've just heard breaking news that 2 more people have been arrested in connection with this case.
Yes, it is very good, for us to be able to get that news. It is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, everybody, the family, the mother, the father, the siblings, they want to know why. Why did you do that? Not just the family, but as we here at court, we've seen so many different groups who are here to support, this cause. They're asking the question why, and they demanding for justice. So it's good that at least we have suspects arrested, and they would have to tell us why, if they're involved. If they're not involved, anyway, we'll find out. But I must say that this is something that we should not treat as a case of a Nigerian being targeted because of his nationality. Crime is crime. It can happen to anyone. Crime can be done by anyone. So we want to discourage that. We want to discourage any group, local South African group, that would want to say, well, he deserves it because he's not local, he's Nigerian. Or we don't want to see Nigerian groups saying, look, he was targeted because he's Nigerian. No. Crime is crime. It's happening to our uncles, our nieces, our nephews, our mothers, and our fathers, and we must treat it that way.
I want you to just quickly describe Isaac, as the person that he was. I mean, I've also picked up that he was a hard worker.
Here's the update that matters. Before this Monday court appearance, SABC arrested 2 more suspects, aged 30 and 26, to join the first suspect, a 25-year-old woman. That brings the total to 3 in court today. And police said they were still looking for a 4th suspect. And later today, Eyewitness News reported that a 4th suspect handed himself over to police. So the confirmed number becomes 4, not 5. Now that is the part that widens the story. The case is being treated like it may expand. And you heard Solomon's reaction. He said the family wants to know one thing. Why? Why did you do that? Not just the family. The people gathered outside the courthouse. Different groups, all asking the same question. And then Solomon said something that I think everyone watching this needs to hear. Crime is crime. It can happen to anyone. Crime can be done by anyone. He said they want to discourage any South African group from saying Isaac deserved it because he was not local. And they want to discourage any Nigerian group from saying he was targeted because he was Nigerian. Crime is crime. It's happening to our uncles, our nieces, our nephews, our mothers, and our fathers. That is a man standing outside the courthouse where his family members' alleged killers are about to appear. And instead of choosing anger against a nationality, he chose unity. And one more detail. Solomon confirmed that in just 3 days, the fundraiser had already reached R25,000 out of the R7,000 goal, and 90% of the donors were local South Africans. So here's where I leave you, because this case is not closed, it's not wrapped up, it's barely getting started, and there are questions that I cannot stop thinking about. Question 1. The ride was booked by a man and a woman through the e-hailing app. Was that account registered under a real identity or a fake one? And if it was fake, how easy is it to create a ghost account on these platforms to lure a driver into a trap? Question 2. The state is charging premeditated murder under common purpose. If the state is pursuing a premeditated murder case, what evidence points to planning? Was it the account used to request the trip, the coordination seen in the video, or something the public has not heard yet? So what exactly points to planning, if anything? Who coordinated it? Who requested the trip? And what did each person allegedly do once Isaac arrived? Question 3. 4 people are now connected to this case. 4. And that raises the question, is this the full group, or are there more? These are not accusations. These are the questions that any investigation of this nature has to answer. And until they are answered, this case stays open in my mind, and it should stay open in yours. The next court date is February 23rd, 2026. I will be watching, and I need you to watch with me. Isaac David Satlat was 22 years old. He was an automotive engineering student about to graduate. He loved life. He loved music. He loved the church. His birthday was coming up in March. He was the firstborn. His siblings looked up to him. His mother hasn't seen him in years, and now she never will again. Not alive. Someone booked a ride that was never meant to be a ride. If this story matters to you, drop a comment below. Tell me what you think happened. Tell me what question you want answered first. Share this with someone who needs to see it. Because Isaac had a name. He had a family. He had a future that was taken from him in Pretoria West on February 11th, 2026. And the least we can do, the absolute least, is not look away. I'll see you on the next one.